Why is it so difficult to reduce poverty in the United States? Two excellently researched books help explain why. Evicted, Poverty and Profit in the American City, and Poverty by America. Both are written by Matthew Desmond, who worked and lived with the people in poverty mentioned in these books, and he is now a sociology professor at Princeton University. These books work well together. Evicted was written first in 2016 and won a Pulitzer Prize. It shares the stories of 8 families who were repeatedly evicted within 1 year in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Tenants are tricked, exploited, and evicted by landlords. Rarely does a tenant have the opportunity to hire a defense lawyer, giving the advantage to the landlords and making it easier for the courts to side with the landlords. Women are twice as likely to get evicted as men, and women with children are 3 times as likely. It is recommended that our housing not exceed 30% of our income, and that used to be true for renters as well. However, regulations have been taken away in the inner cities, making it easier for landlords to charge 70 to 80% of poor people's income. Evictions have significantly increased from the past, and a whole industry has formed making money off of the poor. Eviction moving companies, eviction special law enforcement, landlord attorneys, rapid rescore agents, and payday loan businesses. How are tenants affected? Evictions cause them to lose their home, their community, their school. They may lose their job. They may lose their government aid, and they lose their spirit, especially when they see all of their possessions being thrown out onto the curb for the neighbors to loot through. Food, clothing, school notebooks, stuffed animals, whatever. The United States is the richest nation in the world. We have an abundance of resources, and yet we have the highest rate of poverty out of all 26 industrialized countries. Why is this happening? And why is no one stopping it? Could it be that the low-income earners do not know how to apply for government aid? Or maybe it's too complicated and too confusing for them to fill out the applications? Or are the rest of Americans benefiting from the profit of the businesses that take advantage of the poor? Poverty by America explains the economics of the issue. Desmond makes a great point that America is supposed to be a place where a person can better him or herself, but that's only possible if they have a stable home. When a person has a place to live, they become a better parent, worker, citizen, friend. They're more psychologically stable, and they can save money. But rent and healthcare costs have gone up tremendously, along with fuel and utilities. But wages have pretty much stayed the same, and some have reduced. Now, why is that? A lot of larger companies are not hiring full-time employees for their lower income jobs, such as administration, security, laundering, cleaning, testers, recruiters. They hire temp agencies instead. And the temp agencies have lower wages because that's how they compete. Both the temp agencies and the large companies have workshops to show employees how to apply for government programs, such as health care or the earned income tax credit. So these big billion-dollar companies are using the government to pay the benefits for their employees so they can put more profit into their pockets. And if they want to make even more money, they can take their profits offshore so that they don't have to pay taxes in the United States, which is a huge loss of income for our country. Desmond mentions that both political sides have contributed to the inequalities, and he writes about possible solutions. He knows that there is not a perfect answer, but the conversation has to begin somewhere. One suggestion is that the rent gouging and the neglected properties need to be taken care of first in the inner cities. Otherwise, if people receive an increase in wages, the landlords will get wind of it and they just jack up their rents to absorb that extra money. And yet they don't fix their windows or repair the plumbing. When people receive increase in wages, child neglect and teen births go down. Underage drinking and smoking decrease. People get more sleep and stress is reduced. Another suggestion is that there needs to be enough affordable housing. Right now, we have a large shortage of affordable housing, and developers have no incentive to build it because they're making a lot more money building the big houses. New Jersey passed inclusionary zoning mandates, and at first, the affluent people, no, they didn't want it at all. They were afraid the crime would go up in their neighborhood and that their own children's grades would decrease. But guess what? Didn't happen. They have moved affordable housing in with affluent housing. The houses are being maintained. The crime rate has not increased. The lower income children have excelled at school and are going for higher levels of education. And the grades of the affluent students didn't go down. It's been a win-win for everybody. When the rich work, play, and socialize only with the rich, the poor are forgotten. Integration encourages understanding and working together. I encourage you to read these two books. These were the most important books that I read this year. Desmond provides an abundance of research and thoroughly explains the issues. Thanks for watching. Keep reading and have a great week.